Hey everyone, and welcome to Nerfcast. This is Shawn.
And this is Josh. So, Shawn, what are we talking about today?
I'm just kidding. Anywho, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to touch on a couple different subjects. But first, we have an announcement.
We do have an announcement. So, as many of you may know, today, I believe, is supposed to be the day that the Elite Alpha Trooper actually comes out.
Like, really comes out. Not the fake come out where it comes out 2 weeks ahead of time and people can buy them at Targets. No. We're talking about the actual release date. And how do we plan to celebrate this, Josh?
We plan on celebrating that by giving away an Elite Alpha Trooper.
That's right. You listening to me right now speaking, you can have an Elite Alpha Trooper to call your own. And know what? It won't cost you anything.
Nope. Just some time and some love. Actually, the love is optional.
No, it's required.
Just time.
No, I'm adding a stipulation right now. The love is required because here are the details on how to enter the contest.
Show us your love.
We're going to ask you to send us an email to bayareanerf@gmail.com. Just an email saying basically what you like about our show. If you like how I sound, if you like how I sound in comparison to Josh, if you think my ideas are better than Josh's, if you think my looks are better than Josh's, if you think that overall I'm just a nicer person, just any of those things, plus anything else you can think of why I'm a better person than Josh, just send them over to bayareanerf@gmail.com. Have the title of your email be Alpha Trooper Contest. That is how we're going to be sorting them out.
Yep. Alpha Trooper Contest. Please spell it correctly. There's not an F in Alpha Trooper. It is ALPHATROOPER Contest.
And contest is spelled how contest is spelled.
Yeah, you know what? If you can't figure it out and you don't win, you have no one to blame but yourself.
You might hurt yourself if you have an Alpha Trooper in that situation.
Yep.
So the stipulation is going to be, we do have a special condition. We have a page on Facebook also called Bay Area Nerf. Right now, we're hovering about 50 likes. What we're going to need from you guys listening is to get us to 100 likes.
That's right. Show us your love.
Once you get us to 100 likes, we'll select at random one of the emails sent to us, once again with the title Alpha Trooper Contest. Once it's randomly selected, we will ship it to you for free. Once again, free shipping. We're only going to be doing this within the United States, though.
Yeah, unfortunately, we cannot do international shipping at the moment.
Yeah, it's just a little cost prohibitive, but you get a free blaster if you live in the U.S. Plus free shipping. We'll put that on our dollar too.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, we were waiting for it to come out while Europe had it, and they were just all loving the Alpha Trooper. So now it's our turn. We're trying to help out those U.S. fans that weren't able to get their hands on them because people went and bought all of them at Target when they came out.
Boo!
Yeah, that's
Boo!
Tom Slick when you do that.
I actually have no problem with the people who went out and bought all the Alpha Troopers.
I don't either.
I mean, realistically, because if people remember the HP touchpad, it was a similar thing where they were super cheap, hard to find. People were waiting in lines, calling up like Best Buys night and day.
Yeah.
It's honestly just comes down to they have the demand for it. Like, I think reselling them is kind of stupid, but I've seen a lot of people doing contests, trying to ship them out to friends.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like most of the Nerf community was pretty cool about if they were able to get their hands on some for cheap, they were getting them so that Target wouldn't correct the price changes and they would be able to give them out to the community either for the same cost or very little profit. I know Bobololo got some and he was sending them out to people for no profit to him. It's just better than people going out and buying them for $20. And honestly, I don't feel too bad about that. It's people have been talking about it online, like, oh, Hasbro's going to be mad. Oh, Target will probably be pretty disappointed that they messed up. That's Target's problem. But they already paid for the Alpha Troopers. So Hasbro probably isn't going to be too mad. In fact, now Target will have to order more from Hasbro, so they're probably actually pretty happy because they already got paid one way or the other. And Target probably just missed out on a lot of profit. I don't know if they really lost a lot, because if that's what their clearance price was on the old Alpha Troopers, then they probably weren't losing a ton of money on it. Well, they weren't making a ton.
You have to keep in mind in retail situations, both both Josh and I have worked at retail stores before. Usually when something goes end of life, when the store wants to get rid of it, it costs the store money to have it on the shelf. So often they'll set the price lower than what the actual cost of the item is just to get rid of it.
And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, I just realized if you've been under a rock or you just haven't been keeping track, the Elite Alpha Troopers showed up in Targets earlier than their official quote-unquote release date.
Wait, what are you telling me, Josh, that once again the street date was broken on a Nerf product?
That is correct, Shawn.
My word, this is unprecedented besides the Elite series that has been going on for the past, year or so?
Yeah. Now, normally that's already really good news because people are seeing things earlier than expected. But Target was using the same DPCI number that they used on the original Alpha Trooper, which sometime within this last year was clearanced out of most Target stores. So,
and realistically, sorry to interrupt you, it's really kind of odd to me that they were using the same DPCI code just because, once again, I've worked retail. It's not that hard to have a different SKU. It's the range of numbers you can put together to make an item, it's very simple to do. So it seems very odd to me that even though it's the same name but a clearly different product, that they would just recycle the SKU instead of just coming up with a new one for Nerf.
Yeah, I agree. It's very odd. And I mean, it's not something that Hasbro mandated because DPCI numbers are something that are unique to Target. They're not the UPC that's on the box that's being scanned. It's an internal system that is being used, and Target clearly just decided to try to make it easier for them, or for whatever reason, just left it the same. And so when they came out early, most stores didn't notice and correct it to the MSRP, and instead we're still selling them at clearance price. Now, you had to get the DPCI number at most Targets and walk in and ask them for it. A few might have actually had them on shelves, but that's been the big thing since I think our last podcast was that happening.
Mm-hmm. Which is pretty awesome because we had a Nerf event this weekend, and everybody there pretty much was running Alpha Troopers.
Oh, yeah, it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. You see people dart pushing again.
Yeah, so a lot of us, there were a few people that had put new springs in them, but for the most part, I think people were running them stock. So it was back to the days of dart pushing and getting those extra few feet, and it was really fun. It was fun and kind of nostalgic, and it was a great game.
And a great way to stay in shape.
That's correct. So yeah, if you didn't know about this or you weren't able to get your hands on one for super cheap, before you go out and buy one for $20, consider sending us an email and liking our page and telling your friends to like our page so that you will have a chance at getting one for free. That's less than $6. That's a better deal than Target was giving people.
Yep, and just a reminder once again, you're sending your email to bayareanerf@gmail.com. And our Facebook group, if you want to like it or send it to your friends to get the like number up to 100, is Bay Area Nerf.
Yep.
Nice and simple.
Facebook.com/Bay Area Nerf. That'll take you right to it. I know we have Nerfcast stuff, but we're just focusing on the Bay Area Nerf thing because we're going to put a post on the blog as well so that all of our readers that might not listen to the podcast will also know about the contest.
I mean, feel free to like the Nerfcast too.
Yeah, feel free to like those pages.
It
but
won't help your chances of winning, but we do appreciate it.
Yeah, and who knows? The closer that page gets to 100 likes, we might have a contest when that comes around, or maybe even 50 likes. Who knows?
It's such a low number. It's easy for you to meet the conditions, guys.
Yeah, it should be pretty easy. And just shoot us an email, say something you like about the show, something that shows us you've actually listened to the show, not like it am good. Actually,
good.
That's probably good enough.
Well, I gave 50 examples. By the way, if you say I am very handsome looking or very good at what I do on Nerfcast, that might skew the numbers in your favor, maybe? I control probability. You might know me by my superhero name. Long Shot. I like that we both went with X-Men. For a second, I thought you were going to go with Black Cat.
No. Come on.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I did notice you went with the girl and I went with the guy.
Yeah. That's the HeroClix player in me. Probability control. We just did that.
Oh, okay. So speaking of horrible mistakes we just did on the show,
Yeah.
I do have one correction. This is my fault entirely. So last podcast episode, I incorrectly informed you all that the Rapid Strike, which is battery powered, runs on AA batteries. That is actually incorrect. They run on C batteries. It is 4 C batteries that the Rapid Strike runs on.
Correct. And we were looking at pictures, but they were tiny and on a tablet, and I probably should have looked closer as well and then corrected Shawn, but he hits me when I do that, so
I'm sorry, what was that, Josh?
Right. You're correct, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I thought.
Don't you ever question me. Ever. Where are you hiding her, Scarecrow?
There is a Batman blaster. We should pick one of those up and do a review on it.
I'm so confused because I do know about that one, but I wanted to say, yeah, Hasbro does all the superhero ones. Wait a minute.
It's like a giant version of the Triad and not as good.
Yes.
But speaking of the Rapid Strike, there's actually been quite a bit of stuff that has come out since our last podcast. We have all sorts of information, pictures, video.
Some of the pictures are on our blog at bayareanerf.com.
Yep. Have we plugged that enough yet?
We'll
say it a few times.
Please rate, comment, subscribe. If you do not know what Bay Area Nerf is, please rate, comment, subscribe to bayareanerf.com.
Was it like YouTube?
We have a YouTube page. I'm not sure if you knew about it. It is over at Bay Area Nerf.
Yeah. Bay Area Nerf, where the Bay Area nerfs.
Okay, so enough about that. So, Josh, please continue about all the stuff that's been leaking out.
So, Rapid Strike, I mean, apparently I was reading on Reddit, and we got some comments. People were saying, oh, good, does this finally prove that the Rapid Strike is coming out? Well, I didn't realize there was ever a question about it. See, it's the Rapid Strike. We had working models of this for a little bit. I didn't realize people thought, it might not be real. Oh, internals! Oh, it must be legitimate. Like, the working model didn't give it away?
Because I think from the perspective of people who are going to doubt everything, when you see the first picture, you can be like, that's a shop.
I get it.
A Photoshop is what I'm referring to. Someone doctored a photo. I mean, it's very easy because the picture looks so similar to a Stampede. Mm-hmm. You would think, okay, someone just put blue on a Stampede. It's similar to the Alpha Trooper where someone did a picture mock. Actually, I'm starting to think now. Wasn't that actually
I think that was actually the Elite Alpha Trooper. People were thinking they might have just spray painted the old Alpha Trooper blue, much in the way that Tactical Tag. Mm-hmm. That he made his long shot with the white stripe over the blue long shot. And people were like, oh, leave the long shot, what is this? And we're going crazy. So people were like, I don't know. I just saw this happen with the long shot. I don't think it's the Alpha Trooper. But then we were zooming in on photos, and people were saying it looks like it says CS12, and then there was more and more released. So, I mean, it was very similar to that.
I think the natural nature of the internet is to doubt whatever evidence is given to you because so much can be falsified and there's so much information out there. It's easier just to go in as a skeptic and be proven wrong than to go in believing everything you read.
And then have your heart crushed.
I would have so many girlfriends if that were the case.
That is true.
So many.
And their hearts also would not be crushed.
Near, far, wherever you are. Inception.
Yeah.
You see, because he fell off the boat and then he ended up on an island.
Yep, understand.
And it was Shutter Island.
There you go. Shh. So Rapid Strike, pulling this back around. So
Good
internals, good to go. Pictures are up on Bay Area Nerf. There have been videos of it firing stock and what looks like is firing being like overvolted or like they might have done some modification to the dart pushing mechanism that's in there as well as potentially the flywheels because there's one video of it firing and it's pretty fast and there's a couple of other videos of it firing and it's ridiculous.
It's like what, 18-round mag and no, it's a 35-round drum in like 4 seconds.
Yeah, in like 4 seconds or something. It really is reminiscent of the Nitron mod that we've seen before with overvolting the dart pusher as well as
looks so much fun. It
looks
like so much fun.
Every time I think of it, I think of Bobololo because he's the first one I saw do it. Other people may have done it beforehand. I'm not saying he was the first. He was the first that I saw and they were awesome.
Well, Bobo just has a penchant for voltage mods, I think.
Yeah.
The first video I saw was when I was looking up the Raven, and it was him.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. It was him with the Raven, and he didn't have a nice way to put his voltage battery pack on there. So, like, he had his girlfriend helping him hold it in place or something like that while he fired it. And I'm like, this is why you need a girlfriend in Nerf, so she can hold your battery pack for you.
That's right. That is exactly right.
And she has extra D batteries.
Big shout out to Bobo Lolo. If you guys are not watching his videos on YouTube, go look up Bobo Lolo. It's spelled just like it sounds.
And
Bobo
Lolo.
Lolo. Yeah, he's awesome.
The
Awesome
Nerf Viking.
The Nerf Viking. He's a cool guy. We got to see if we can get him on the podcast one of these days.
Hint,
It'd be
hint.
awesome.
If you or your friends know Bobo Lolo, please rate, comment, subscribe.
But, so, yeah, I actually can't wait for the Rapid Strike to come out so he can get his hands on one, and we'll see what he does with it. Because, I don't know, I remember when he did the Nitron again, he had, like, 24 volts or something ridiculous going through. He just had 9-volt batteries chained together on the dart pusher, and I would love to see that happen with the Rapid Strike and just see it go crazy. So
actually, speaking of kind of rumors again, so I was actually looking at Reddit today. I think My Last Start posted about this, but I'm not sure if it was him or not. Actually, it was him. I know it was him.
Okay.
I just wanted to be honest
Steadfast
there.
in your knowledge.
Yeah. Anywho, it sounds like there are rumors of a ECS 60?
Oh, yeah, I did
50?
hear about that. It is 60, I believe. I saw Mila start talking about that on Facebook, where there are rumors of that. That would be really awesome. ECS 50 would be Electronic Clip System 60. ECS was like the
Jesus
Stampede.
Christ, I've been doing Nerf for how long? And I had no idea what that acronym stood for. I know CS is clip system, but it never occurred to me that the E is for electronic.
Yep.
And someone's going to be like, no, it's elastic clip system. Shawn, get your facts straight.
Fact checking, that's what we do. But that would be awesome, because that means there's potentially a 60-round drum that is being created, and oh, sweet Jeebus.
You could just go to town for days.
Yeah, I mean, throwing that in the Rapid Strike would be cool, and that's not even counting whatever blaster they are making stock that could potentially be running this ECS 60 blaster, the magazine.
Electronic clip system.
So, I mean, you know, we might have something that is electronic and not flywheel, which is what people have sort of been saying they would like to see, because since the Elite series has come out at all, there's been everything that is electronic, I believe, has had flywheels in it.
Correct.
There's nothing like the old Stampedes or Vulcans.
I don't see Hasbro ever going back to the old design, which sucks, don't get me wrong. I love the Stampede and the fact that it is a direct plunger system. What I don't... Oh, someone's going to correct me on that. I'm pretty sure it's a direct plunger system.
I've never even taken part of Stampede.
I have.
Quote me on nothing.
I did a mod on it because I wanted basically the Rapid Strike before the Rapid Strike was announced.
Yeah, he literally did this mod, and
then
that
2
day...
days, like, it was like that night, it's like, oh, look at this. And I'm like, oh, fantastic. I'm happy I just spent like an hour doing this.
Oh, man. Every time Shawn does mods, something bad happens. This is like back when the Orange ModWorks springs came out, and he didn't get a spring even though he paid to have it early. Oh.
Just don't even know.
Just, yeah.
It's like Orange ModWorks, you have one job. There's one thing
We forgot the
that's
spring. Sorry,
really
guys.
necessary in a mod kit, and it is the spring.
That is-
like the trigger catch, the reinforcement, whatever. You know what? You put the spring in the blaster, it's going to break, but it's going to work and work how you need it to for at least one shot.
Right, until that fails. But
Now, if you give me everything but the spring, then I'm a poop creek without a paddle.
that is the truth.
Poop creek.
So,
And
yeah.
we always stick together.
Oh, wow, really? Goof Troop?
I've
Really?
been watching a lot of Game Grumps, and I decided I'm the JonTron, and you're the Ego Raptor. Because
Oh.
you can draw.
So I'm more famous than you. I mean, I understand that.
Well, to be fair, you have top filling.
Filling?
That's what it's called when you... Is it billing?
Yeah.
Okay, I corrected myself.
Good job, buddy.
It means that when we eat a cake, you get the first slice.
Woo!
I'm
Cake.
gonna stop talking about this because cake
Cake is
sounds
lie.
so good right now.
All about pie, guys. Delicious pie.
I'm looking at Samson right now.
He almost said, "I will eat you."
That is my plan. Samson's gonna be our Barry. Samson's the name of our microphone, but I talk to him like he's a person.
Yep.
I'm really close to his face right now.
Yep.
I'm whispering because I don't want to ruin his eardrums.
It's okay, little buddy. Rapid Strike. So, honestly, if it's relatively easy to mod this thing and get that kind of where you're hitting a 35 round drum in seconds, that it could change the game. It could potentially, as much as I love pump action blasters, and I will still continue to run my Elite Alpha Trooper because I love that thing to death, I could see a lot of people just coming out and be like, done, done.
I mean, it's the appeal of the Hailfire, basically. Hailfire is high capacity. You have 144 rounds, and you can get them out quickly. The problem is you don't get them out quickly because it is semi-auto. You do have to fire off a trigger each time.
Right.
If the chamber doesn't line up perfectly where the magazine is, it's not going to fire.
Yeah.
If you're doing voltage mods, at least for now, it seems like it overheats a lot. The magazines fall out if you're running around with them. If you're running around with straight 18s instead of just doing the 6s that normally come with it. I mean, there's a lot of good in the Hailfire, but there's a lot of design things that make it not a good mobile blaster.
Yeah.
However, when you take a look over at the Rapid Strike, it's basically a Stampede. You load in one magazine in there. It could be a big drum. It could be this ECS 60 that they're talking about.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And go to town. But the biggest thing to me is you have the mobility you need. So it's not like you're stuck in one stationary position, stuck playing defense, or having to have a wingman basically cover you while you kind of drill in. It'll be heavy, don't get me wrong, but you could potentially run, gun, get to the front of combat, and just go to town with it and just lay down suppression fire like a boss.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really the thing. It's those sort of that grunt, position. If people are filling that, being able to run and gun quickly and effectively and get great ranges, being able to lay down more fire faster than people that are using, stock blasters or even modded blasters that are pump action, could be a real game changer, especially with, the other blasters that are coming out, the Centurion.
Yeah, that's the big reason we really wanted to talk about this again today is before it was mostly just speculation about the blasters. We really want to focus today a lot on just how it's going to change games for people. Mm-hmm. And I feel like with a lot of the opinions I hear from people is there's two main types of blasters, accuracy and power. Now with power, we're not talking about like how hard it's hitting into something. We're talking about what type of rate of fire you're getting. How many darts can you just lay out in the amount of time? How threatening can you be? And there's really two schools of thoughts on this. If you have a lot of ammo you can just get out really quickly and just a lot of shots off, usually you're sacrificing range for that performance. So you can get a lot of darts out, but you're not going to be getting the maximum distance out of them. So transitioning over to Josh's next topic, which is the Centurion, you're really focusing on something that's supposed to be slower to get off. Probably no slam fire. I mean, slam fire's been in a lot of the blasters, but this doesn't look like a blaster you're supposed to slam fire.
Correct.
You're supposed to be slow, methodical, get your shots off, be accurate, and that is the goal of that guy.
Right. Now, I mean, we've had some actual videos released of someone priming the blaster, someone firing the blaster. We've had some really good close-up shots of the blaster packaging and the darts, how much bigger they are. You could almost fit an Elite Streamline inside of one of these darts. It's pretty ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
The problem that we've seen so far is it goes far, but not really so much further that it looks amazingly better than the Elite line. They're advertising ranges that seem much further than what we saw in those videos. Now, it's kind of dark and it's hard to see things, and then at one point he's prone with the bipod up, so he's only shooting from like a couple feet at most off the ground. Don't know how level he's holding the blaster, things like that. So there's a lot of stuff that is yet to be seen, but what I'm thinking is people are going to chop down the barrels on these things because they don't want to lose range. People are going to, either rebarrel it or use, even if they're using the stock mega darts that come with it, which I think might have the potential to just get better ranges because they're so much larger and they have more weight to them. They'll throw in new springs, of course. I mean, this is going to be day one mod stuff. Put in a better spring, chop down the barrel, see what kind of ranges you can get. If they can be hitting things accurately, even at the distances that are advertised on that thing, potentially further, that could say a lot for the way games, at least the way we play them, change. Because you can have somebody or a few people sitting back with Centurions just picking off people, and once you have a couple people down, you have 3 or 4 people rush in with rapid strikes just laying down fire, and as long as somebody can grab like a flag, I mean, I'm talking about CTF here because that's what we primarily play at our games, that's going to allow somebody to just get in there, grab the flag, and get back out. A lot of cover fire and let a lot of distance and accuracy with the Centurions, so it would really change the game. You almost won't need any other blasters.
Yeah, it's basically because of the performance you're getting out of these guys, it almost makes the old series out of date, obsolete. Mm-hmm. Just because you're looking at the Centurion, if you're getting the guaranteed ranges out of them, it's a matter of dead zones. Like, that's the simplest way I can explain it. Mm-hmm. If a Centurion is against a rapid strike, the Centurion is always going to have the edge. But right. In a one-on-one situation. Mm-hmm. Now, in a group setting, a Centurion is only going to get one shot off. So if 2 or 3 people are running in, they're going to be able to close that gap and nail you before you can get the next shot off.
Correct.
So it's, once again, accuracy versus power.
Which I do like a lot of this because it gives different blasters basically different sort of jobs. Right now, the ranges are all pretty... If you're just playing with stock, or maybe you upgrade springs, but you're just playing with stock ammo the way we do, you're still only going to be getting so much of a distance. It's not like playing with people who are doing snap bows and, all sorts of homemade things and stuff like that, where the ranges are significantly more than we're getting. On using stock ammunition, it creates jobs for people. There's people who are going to be fast, who are going to be runners, people who are going to just be sitting back being snipers, people who are going to be suppressive fire, people who are going to be, maybe running in with just shotguns and things like that. So it's kind of cool. It'll be interesting to see how things play out. It's just really, I think, dependent upon what the Centurion is able to do, how feasible it is, or if it's just not as good as people are hoping that it's going to be. If those darts just don't fly straight, or they're too big and they don't work well, I mean, that could just be a wrap for the whole Mega line.
Yeah, because one big part of it is if you're looking at the new darts, which the way I see it, the darts are going to be probably what's carrying that extra distance because they're heavier, they're weighted more towards the nose, it looks like, because they're big, almost whistler-looking darts.
They do actually whistle.
They do whistle.
Watch the video.
I did hear them whistle. And I think that's going to be the big difference. Now, what you're asking people to do, people who have bought all these magazines in the past, all these streamlines, the Elite streamlines, they're going to have to update everything.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before, where I hope that what Hasbro does, if they are planning on doing a whole Mega line, is it seems like the magazines are so large and the darts are so big that they couldn't really make a hand blaster, something that's the size of a strong arm. I hope that if they continue to, mega successful and they want to keep making it, that they make more just very large blasters that are supposed to be more sniper rifle-y. There's no 18-round magazines or anything larger than that. They just keep it to 6 so that you're limited on your ammunition and things like that, so that people who are running them are almost like a specialty class that they bring their own ammo, and they're people who have regular ammo will be able to continue playing the way they are now, and it's not going to be, we're making something that's that's the same as a strong arm or an alpha trooper or a recon retaliator or whatever in make a dart size. Because it just seems like the darts are so large you'd have to be putting them on one at a time and just doing a single shot like a fire strike or something like that. It's going to be kind of difficult to emulate some of these blasters that we have now, or do flywheel designs, things like that.
See, my whole thing is, I agree, if there are more blasters, it'll kind of change it up a little bit. I don't really foresee that happening. Especially when you consider, if you're looking at how leaks have been coming out from Hasbro so far.
Mm-hmm.
You see blasters come out and actually, like, the pictures get leaked, and then in a month or two, you actually see people using the blasters, and then in a month or two, in a month or two, you actually see them start hitting shelves, coming out in market, say Europe. It used to be US, but apparently Hasbro likes Europe a little bit better now. That's not me sounding angry, by the way. It's me sounding jealous. Anywho, what you get in these situations is you kind of get a timetable. You kind of get to see when stuff is going to come out. And right now, all I'm seeing is the Centurion. I'm not seeing any other leaks that are hinting that there might be more Mega. So it does make sense to think it's going to be a specialty class, that only snipers are going to exist or only long-range blasters are going to exist. My problem is, if you look at the scene in a lot of Nerf areas nowadays where people are playing Nerf, where they're having Nerf wars, where they're doing humans versus zombies, it's kind of, it varies from person to person, but in what most people would consider a typical Nerf bow, a Nerf war, oh my god, I'm just losing it right now. People use snap bows. That's
Right.
how I combine those two. People use snap bows, homemades, because they want to get the best distance, be the most accurate.
Right.
And you will see wars just full of everybody using the same type of build for a snap bow, or slightly different ones depending on what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But you see all these people favoring range and performance.
Right.
Now, my problem with the Mega Series is if there's only one blaster coming out, or a very small amount of blasters coming out that all generally serve the same purpose, where they're long-ranged, accuracy-driven blasters, everybody is going to be running the same thing. It's going to kind of kill the whole class idea altogether, because if everyone is running a sniper rifle, then everyone's just going to hold back, post up, and try and get the shots they can. And as far as capacity goes, if you look at a snap bow, like, people will put hoppers on them to hold a couple extra rounds, but I think, you're getting like 6-8 rounds out of a hopper, if even that. Might be less. I've never used homemades, but I've encountered them in wars plenty of times.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see when it comes out what it can do. If it doesn't perform up to spec, what people do to it. And I'm sure someone out there is going to, single it or make it shoot elite streamlines and see how far those go, because that might just be an alternative that people who are running it want to do and somehow figure out. It'd be really cool if they could get the magazine to work and all of that with just regular streamlines and see how well that goes. But I feel like Nerf almost missed the boat on this one, at least in terms of the way we play our games. For people who want that range and accuracy that you can't get out of elite streamlines stock, because they'll just start to just be completely inaccurate and unusable at certain distances, people have started using the Zing bows.
The Zing bows.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of cool. So, like I mentioned this last time too, one of our friends, Chris Rowe, he loves archery. So when he saw that there was a bow you could use for a Nerf war, he was like, I'm all over this. I'm going to do this. He played it. He loved it. I loved the idea, so I brought it to our Nerf wars. First game, it was a blast. Like, I didn't hit that many people, but I feel like that's more on me because I didn't practice my accuracy, my draw, anything really. So I'm going in kind of assuming that, it's just, you just aim and fire, right?
Yeah,
it's like, no. There's wind conditions, you're dealing with a much longer range, you're arcing your shots. There's a lot of technical skill that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
So that said, I barely hit anyone last game, but when I did, I had a great time. So this game, I was the only one who ran it at the first game that I used it. The next game, we had, 2 people show up with bows, and then 2 other people borrowed my loadout because they really just wanted to play with it.
Yeah, we had quite a few people using Zing bows and Zing bow ammo, and those things are just fun. Even if you don't hit people, just hearing their whistler, like arrows, fly through the air and then hit a wall, just that satisfying noise after the whistle gets people to duck behind cover, if nothing else. They definitely move out of the way when they hear that come by, and it's awesome.
It's a great way to hold someone off. Once again, if you have a situation where someone has a good, accurate weapon or a blaster that can hold a lot of rounds, it's great to team up with someone with a Zing bow, because the Zing bow kind of holds people off and saves them away, but the partner keeps people from just charging them, because honestly, it is a longer reload time. You're only shooting one shot. You have to wait between shots.
Right.
If you have to run away because someone's chasing you down, it's hard to spend that time getting accurate, hooking the loops, and going.
Yeah.
But it's definitely fun if you want to practice with it and get good at a war. I personally could see them dominating any blaster easily if you got skilled enough with it.
Yeah. So I feel like we've almost found a way to fill that role before Nerf did. And I mean, maybe they were working on this for a while. I don't know. Just the more that I see with the Centurion, the more I feel like, oh, I'm not that excited for it. When I first saw it, everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is a huge blaster. It looks so cool. Now it almost feels like, I feel like I'm going to be disappointed when this comes out. I don't know. Maybe not. It might be really awesome. I don't want to, put a damper on anything, but, my excitement level has definitely dropped since I've seen the performance. The darts just look like the walls look really thin for a hole that's the size that they have in the back of these darts.
Yeah.
So they look like they're not going to be very stable. I mean, there's just a lot of things, and I feel like we've reached pretty much the pinnacle of where we're going to be able to get with the size darts that Nerf uses right now without weighting the tips more or things like that. So I don't think there's much more that Nerf can do besides bring out different blasters. And I mean, it makes sense for them to try and get, of course, better ranges and things like that. This is just almost too much. The darts just seem too big to be used all the time and have everyone switch over to it and just start using mega everything all the time.
See, it's too big, and to me it looks almost too flimsy. Like, the wall, it's not even necessarily that it's thinner than a Elite Streamline, but the problem I'm seeing is just ratio-wise, it looks thinner in comparison to the rest of the dart.
Right.
So there's some picture of someone holding it's like 6 or 8 of the darts in their hand, and it looks like they're already bending. They're going in kind of like oval designs instead of circles because of pressure on them.
Right.
So, they don't look that durable. I could be wrong. They could be a lot stiffer when they actually come out. But the other point that I would consider is when you look at a lot of flywheel designs, the way they grip darts,
yeah,
like, it's not rough on the dart, but it is putting pressure on it. That's what makes it fling forward. It's basically a little flywheel gripping it and shooting it forward. And obviously, I'm not an engineer, so I don't know all the specifics of how it works. But to me, if it's gripping onto the shaft of the dart, it could put pressure on it, it could warp it, it can make it not load into a magazine well, and it could be causing jams or other issues in the middle of a fight if the dart isn't holding its shape well.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the big problems with the original Streamlines, and it seems like the Elite line is much better about longevity,
rigidity. I've been screwing up words all podcast, but the fact that I said rigidity correctly.
You said rigidity while I was about to say rigidity, and it threw me off. Shawn said a word, and there were G's and D's and things in it.
Giggity.
Giggity, giggity, goo. Yeah, so Centurion, I mean, it could be a game changer. It could also just be, it could fall really flat. I have not set my hopes too high, especially, like I said, the more that comes out, the more that I see.
I'll be happy if it doesn't work that well.
I almost will too, because we won't have to buy a bunch of new darts.
We won't have to buy a bunch of new darts. Won't have to buy a bunch of new magazines.
Yeah.
We were talking about how we think that the 6-round magazines are probably going to be the max capacity. Well, guess what? 3D printers are becoming a lot more common. Get someone who can basically take the design of a mag and just be like, okay, cool. Now take this middle section and just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste.
Yeah.
Copy paste.
Yeah, I mean, you might not even have to do that. You might just be able to take plastic and make the magazine longer the way that...
Please, Josh, we live in the future. We have 3D printers.
I'm just saying, people have done this with the Vortex line, where they've just added piping, pretty much cut off the top of one of those magazines to make it extend all the way up, and then just glue the top back on, and all the space in the middle, they just, fill with a larger spring, and they're good to go.
So we could copy their design and then paste it onto our blaster.
Yes, that works.
So I'm still right.
Yep. Oh, I wasn't disagreeing with you.
Yep.
So, Centurion. Yeah, a lot of new information's out.
A lot of cool information. I would still love to see the internals. One of the debates kind of raging online right now is it sounds like when the dude in the video was priming it, it sounded like their gears kind of similar to the rough cut.
Yeah.
For the priming mechanism.
Mm-hmm, where it's got those teeth and it's pulling something. Maybe to make it easier to prime? I don't know.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, the rough cut does feel really easy to prime.
Right.
But there was a funny story that happened a couple weeks ago. So we were up at this rock climbing gym in El Cerrito called Bridges Rock Climbing Gym. Bridges Rock Gym, sorry. And it's a bouldering gym, but they decide to have Nerf nights every once in a while. If you want to check them out on our page on the calendar, you can actually see the event listed on there. Anywho, someone was running a rough cut there, and one of our friends commented, "Oh, that looks really cool and really fun." And the guy's like, "Yeah," and he goes down to prime it, and he primes it really hard because he wants to be like a badass. And you just hear...
Yeah, the problem was he had just primed his blaster and was waiting to respawn. There were people that are marking off wristbands for how many lives that you had in that game. And during the conversation, he turned and primed the blaster a second time, not realizing that it wasn't primed, I guess. Maybe, I mean, I don't know exactly what was running through his head, or if he just didn't remember, or...
Heat of the moment.
Yeah, and we just heard all the gears strip, just... Uh-oh.
And now, obviously, that is user error, so that's why that happens. His blaster doesn't work anymore.
Yep.
I mean, that part's kind of obvious. But what I hear now, what I think about with plastic gears, wear and tear. They're eventually going to wear down, not work properly, and it kind of adds more of a, like a concrete lifespan to the blaster, I would think. Through wear and tear, you know it's going to die. Like, obviously, that's true with, like, regular blasters that use springs and use the typical priming mechanism, too. Springs will wear out, joints will break from wear. But to me, when you're dealing with plastic gears that are constantly moving, the more moving parts that need to be, like, kind of fine and detailed, the more likely something can go wrong in my head.
No, I understand what you're saying. I mean, there's lots of little teeth on there, and there's not a ton of room to where if it starts to wear, they're going to stop catching on each other. Unlike, say, a trigger catch, there's at least a decent amount of plastic, so once it starts to wear, you're still going to have time. If you have those plastic teeth going into one another, if they start scraping, they'll wear each other down and they won't be able to connect properly.
I mean, obviously, we'd like a shot of the Eternals, because that way we can kind of tell for sure how it's set up.
Right, the Centurion.
Of the Centurion, sorry. The Rapid Strike, we've seen the inside and how much technology is inside that guy. A lot of circuit boards.
Yeah.
A lot of circuit boards in there. But with the Centurion, we still haven't really seen a good picture inside yet.
Yeah.
From the outside, though, my God, it is a big blaster.
That thing is huge.
I mean, the guy holding it looked like he might be average size or a little bit smaller than normal.
Right.
But, I mean, it looked like it. Like, what, 3 feet, I would almost say?
Yeah, it was giant. I mean, it's definitely larger than the long shot, because we've seen pictures of them side by side compared, and it's definitely larger than that. It just looks unwieldy. I mean, I'm pretty tiny. I'm like 5'2", so I'm short. That looks like an unwieldy blaster to me, but...
I mean, you can always cut it down, too, like Josh said. You can cut it down, make it so it's more like an assault rifle, and you can run around with it and take off your shots. But, yeah, to me, that's just like, it's defeating the purpose of the blaster. You want it to be a cool sniper rifle, then you have to be stationary with it.
Right, it's like what a lot of people found with the Long Strike, that they liked the blaster, it looked really cool, but you kind of have to take off that front barrel or else your ranges just go down so much. It kills the appeal of the blaster looking really cool if you have to take off one of the parts that make it look really cool.
Yeah.
So, there's that. But, I mean, other than that, there's actually kind of another big announcement, a big leak, if you will.
A bit of a infection that's been spreading across the internet.
Indeed.
Turning us into, if you could say, zombies.
Oh ho ho.
Oh ho.
Yes, the Zombie Strike line.
Oh ho.
We assume it's going to be a line. The blaster itself is called the Hammer Shot. And it's pretty interesting. My Last Dart, I believe, is the one who had the news.
He posted it on his blog, yeah.
Somebody else could have had it first. I don't know. Again,
if you want updates, if we're sure about My Last Dart being the person who provided the story, please go to BayAreaNerf.com. He's probably going like, why aren't you plugging my site right now? His site is mylastdart.blogspot.co.uk.
Yep, I believe if you go to mylastdart.blogspot.com, it actually will forward there as well now.
Yes.
But regardless, so the blaster itself looks like it is going to be called the Hammer Shot, and I think it actually had a really long name. It was the Hammer Shot Orange Cattle Pistol is what apparently it's being called.
The
and
cattle
it is a
pistol?
Cattle pistol.
Like a cow.
Yeah. I don't know. Hey, you know what? Apparently it's the boys, it's looking to be the boys' version of the Nerf Rebel Wild Shot pistol. I don't think Nerf should call anything a pistol.
That's a bad idea, because I work very hard to break myself of saying a Nerf gun to say pistol, and I'm not shooting someone, I'm playing tag with them.
Also, that's an incredibly long name.
Yeah.
And on the blaster itself, all it says is Hammer Shot and Zombie Strike, and it has this really cool looking Z logo, as well as the regular Nerf logos. So it looks like their idea of the Rebel line being a girls-focused line, that at the same time they might want to bring out something for boys aside from just the elite line, and also kind of catch in the HVZ crowd, which obviously they already have, but they really want to, I guess, push that point home and make it, this is really cool, the Zombie Strike line. The Hammer Shot is a pretty cool looking little blaster. It has a hammer, basically, like an old style 6-shooter revolver would have, and you actually pull that down with your thumb or with your other hand, and that primes the blaster and then allows you to shoot, and it has 5 shots in a rotating barrel. The blaster itself looks a little bit thinner and a little bit smaller than a strong arm, but it looks pretty cool. I gotta say, I think people that want a one-handed blaster that don't like running, say, a Strife as a secondary would really do well to look into this, because they'd be able to even potentially dual-wield this, pull them out, and just with your thumb, pull the hammer back and take shots.
Just go to town.
Yeah, there's also a video of it firing. It looks apparently like it's getting elite ranges, so I'm hoping that they kind of do that we're going to be able to look forward to a couple of different lines coming out. When the Rebel line comes out, that there will also be stuff in the Zombie Strike.
It's hard in my head, because I don't even think of the Zombie Strike as a different line. It's taking some of the stuff that the Rebel line came up with and just recoloring it and retooling it, so it's...
that's what this blaster is so far. That's what I'm saying. If they decide to sort of push this as a line, like there's Elite, there's Zombie Strike, there's Rebel, there's Mega... If they push this, it would be cool to see some new blasters come out that are just totally different and more like zombie apocalypse looking. It has like faux tape around the handle, so it looks like it's a gun that was taped up, and somebody put hockey tape on it or something. It would just be cool to see different designs like that.
See, to me, it's basically a key point that I've talked about this in the past, that Hasbro needs to release different colors of the blasters they have, or do stylistic changes but keep the internals almost the same.
Right.
Because I think a lot of people did think the Rebel line was really cool. I think the color scheme is still really cool with the Rebel line, but
Agreed.
Clearly it is designed for girls.
Right.
Like, you can just tell that.
Their marketing is obviously pushing towards females.
Yeah, so this is just taking those blasters and saying, well, these are good blasters. Let's just do them in zombie mode, too.
Yeah.
And I'm down for that, because it means that, hey, you get a choice now. I would be even cool with them doing it in the elite color scheme. Just start throwing out different colors. Like, one thing I love about Zing is I have 5 different color bows at home just for the Zing bow.
Right.
I have one that's green and blue, green and orange. I have the pink one. I got the Hunter, which is like the black one, and I got one that's, I think, the blue one too. I
think Zing has a like Z zombie bow now.
They do.
Yeah. So clearly, blaster manufacturers are seeing HVZ as a growing market and know that even though their target audience is 6 to 12-year-olds or something like that. I forget what their actual target audience is, and they know that people that are older are going to continue to use them. Well, why not hook them when they're young? They start talking about HVZ if they have an older sibling or, someone in their family or a friend that is older and sees that. That's a way for them to connect, and, they might just grow into continuing to use Nerf blasters and enjoy HVZ, as that's sort of the big popular Nerf and foam blaster.
Yeah, just capture more markets, which is a great idea on their part. I feel like everyone's kind of realizing at the same time, like, oh, zombies, people like those, right?
Yeah, it's been weird. Walking Dead came out. There's been a lot of zombie things. Apparently zombies and bows. That's, the new thing. But,
yeah, I'm excited just to see a different color scheme, same blasters. It has me kind of hopeful in the future that they'll kind of do that with more stuff, and it's going to be less about like which stores have exclusive deals to blaster designs and more about just different ways to get the same thing.
Yeah, and I mean, it would be cool if there were things that were exclusive to either Rebel or this, Zombie Strike line. If they branched off and did something,
Oh, definitely.
have something, that has like wings on it or something cool, a cool design like that, and then something on the zombie side that's more, I don't know.
Like, it's hard to come up with ideas for new blasters, honestly. Yeah. Like, kudos to the engineers over at Hasbro who come up with them. But honestly, a good way to look at it is just come up with a signature couple of blasters where you're like, okay, you know what? Clearly, bow and arrows are cool for girls. I mean, guys love them too, but girls kind of like that. It's like, cool. Obviously, you design your Rebel line around that kind of thought in mind. Mm-hmm. Now, with the zombie line, what they're kind of doing instead is they obviously have they have at least one blaster that looks the same as the other blasters, but it sounds like they're actually going for the Enforce line, which has pretty much not been touched in a while, and coming out with melee weapons that are supposed to be more designed towards a zombie apocalypse, which is awesome because if you ever play Humans vs. Zombies, melee is such a big part of that whole game structure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. New melee weapons, we've sort of been lacking for a while, and although we're not people that play with melee in our games and our game types, that's not to say we don't enjoy it. I mean, I own a few Nerf melee weapons. I have a sword, I have a mace, I've got Thor's hammer. It's awesome.
I have Captain America's shield.
Yes.
I also have Tron discs. I have a white one and a black one for like when Finn...
They're not Nerf, but they're really cool.
They are really cool.
But yeah, we've been needing some more End Strike stuff. Enforce. There we go.
God, Josh.
It's weird that they went with End Strike and then they decided that something that would actually hit things and thereby strike them would be called Force.
Well, you could think of it as the way I think about it in my head is, oddly enough, another British reference. When I think about like force, I think of like a police force.
Right.
And I imagine them going around with batons or riot shields and like, oh, we're going to stop something.
That works.
I mean, I that was the wrong analogy to do because when I think of like British or UK people and the police, I imagine them with like giant billy clubs and the giant hats with the little checkered things around them. Like, bully, I'm going to stop you, you thief. That is not a British accent.
That is not even close.
That's like an old-time rag. Like, oh, I'm going to get you. You see, I'm a copper, see?
Oh,
This is how you all sound to me.
That's right. You have an accent. Haha.
I say, old bean, will you please put away your Nerf blaster? Wow, I'm just going to stop right now.
Thank you.
Who wants to hear my Jean-Luc Picard impression?
Nope. So...
Make it so, number one. Computer, freeze program.
Oh, boy.
Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise. Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS. Patrick Stewart is listening to this right now, because I know he does.
Yeah.
He's going to send the first email about the Alpha Trooper contest.
Yep.
And be like, Shawn, you have done something great here today.
I don't even know. Oh, boy.
Make it so, number one.
So, Hammershot, I don't really see changing any games.
It's not a game changer. It's just cool, and I appreciate the idea that they're coming out with, like, same blasters, different colors, starting new lines. Definitely HVZ is something I'm excited about because...
Definitely.
Zombies are fun.
And it's a great market for them to break into, even though, I mean, people are clearly already using their stuff. It's nice to see them embrace the fans in every way possible.
Yeah. I mean, if there's one thing I would say is... like, the timing on this is good. Mm-hmm. I feel like Hasbro is trying to get a little bit faster with their releases. Like, one thing My Last Start said that I always kind of remember when he talks about new blasters coming out is it sounds like we are years away for some of the stuff they already have designed over in the Hasbro R&D labs or whatever.
Right.
And I feel like in this market you can't do that anymore. I understand it takes time and effort and a lot of thought to come out with a new blaster, but at the same time it's kind of like, hey, if you have competition... Right. You have, obviously, I talk about Zing all the time. You have Buzzbee. There's a new blaster, Tech Recon, coming out using new ammo, virtual reality. I mean, Hasbro's already touched on this with their Eltar
series,
which is their laser tag series, but not super in depth.
No.
There's a lot of competition out there. You don't have the luxury of saying it's ready when it's ready anymore.
Yeah, it's weird because it feels like these releases have confirmed a lot but left a lot of questions for me because the Elite line is so new that people have just barely started switching up to all Elite blasters and all Elite darts.
I mean, it's the anniversary to me of the Elite line is in June because that's when they started leaking out.
Exactly. So to me, we've barely been given a year with these blasters, and most of that, well, for a lot of us, we don't play in the winter and things like that.
And now we're starting to look at the Mega series with whole new darts, whole new magazines.
Right, and the strange thing to that, for me, is that they're clearly thinking about bringing out the Rebel line and this, Zombie Strike line, which are using Elite Streamlines. So clearly they want Elite Streamlines to have some longevity and be around for a while. Seems odd that they would be bringing out something like the Centurion, but when we talked to My Last Dart, he even said that the R&D guys were like, oh yeah, the old ranges, the old darts, the blue ones.
Like the Strife, when it came out, he's like, yeah, the new Strife that just came out. I was like, no, we came out with that like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why did it take so long to come? Like, I understand they want to test everything and make sure it's safe, but on the same note, too, it's kind of like, once again, it might be because there's really no competition at the time for Hasbro. They
Very
look at the
possible.
market and say, we can come out with blasters whenever we want, we can space them out.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like now their mentality is we need to rush out what we have, and that's when mistakes are made when blasters are leaked before they come out.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think I just get nervous hearing so much leaked information about the Centurion before anything has come out, any official word from Hasbro, just because I feel like at least give us another year or so with these Elite blasters before you start saying, oh, the Elite ranges are now going to be what the old N-Strike ranges were when the Elite line came out. So that means that they would have to be working on something that is better than Elite, which presumably would be this Mega line, which means that then they are looking at other blasters besides just the Centurion, and they are going to make other things, which is almost disappointing to me. I want some time to enjoy all the stuff that they gave us right now, but then be excited when the new stuff comes out. And that's not necessarily saying they shouldn't make more things, like you were saying, like you can't just wait around and not do anything. It's just, having new blasters consistently coming out, like having the whole Rebel line drop, having the Zombie Strike line drop, having the Elite Alpha Trooper come out, having the Rapid Strike come out. All of those things are, you can space them out and be like, oh, I'm still excited for new things that are coming out that are going to change the game a little bit without basically revamping, almost starting from scratch with this Elite Mega line.
And I know I just said it's a very agile market, you need to move quickly, but at the same time, I feel like you could have easily spaced out the second wave of Elite Series blasters 9 months, not 6 months, 9 months, a year. Just space it out more because we were happy with what we had. I mean, I'm so stoked we have the Stripe. I feel like at this point we have pretty much everything we need. So when I look at a blaster like the Centurion or the Rapid Strike coming out, I'm kind of like, why not wait longer?
Right.
And then do what you did originally with the Elite Series, is have a couple blasters come out at once, so there's more of a rally around it, and you feel like there's still that diversity. When I look at just the Centurion, I'm like, well, if it's getting the ranges it's promising, then everyone's going to use that, and it's going to make it boring because everyone's using the same blaster. Right. Now, if I saw two other blasters that were also the Mega Series, like one that was like a semi-auto electric blaster, or one that's more like an Alpha Trooper or a Rampage, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense because you just introduced two other types that can still hopefully counter this.
Right.
I mean, once again, it does suck because it's so soon and you'd have to replace all this ammo, but it just doesn't feel like... It feels like they're getting blasters out to try and counter what's on the market. Yeah. Which is good, but you have to be ahead of it too. Right. And I feel like probably what they have ready right now, what's cutting edge, is ahead of it. Mm-hmm. But if we're going to have to wait 2 or 3 years or have to leak it earlier, then it's kind of like, well, what's the point?
Yeah, no, I mean, I pretty much agree. It's just, meh. Excited, want to see what the Rapid Strike will do in some games. Not so excited about the Centurion and, the potential of an entire new line coming out so quickly.
I just honestly don't want to change right now. Yeah. I am happy with the blasters that are out right now. I just don't want to see them become obsoleted before they've had their full go.
Yeah, give them their time in the sun. That's what I'm thinking. Mm-hmm. But we'll see, because again, Nerf hasn't really said anything about some of these blasters. We may just be getting leaks way earlier than they ever anticipated. They may be thinking a 2014 Christmas release for the Centurion, for all we know.
It could be, but I mean,
I agree with what we've seen in the past with things being leaked and released. It seems like it'll be sooner than that.
I agree. I just don't. I'm honestly dumbfounded a little bit, just because. My gut is telling me it's going to be out sooner than Christmas, but my mind is saying, hey, there would be something from Hasbro at this point, just kind of speaking to it, talking to it, trying to hype people up. I mean, there's just I love Hasbro, don't get me wrong. Hasbro, you make great blasters. You make my favorite blasters. Mm-hmm. You're the ones I use every single game. I might talk about the other brands more than you, but you are the company that makes what I love.
Yep.
And it's just very surreal to me, I guess is the right way to say it, that things like this happen. Like, nobody likes it when data gets leaked or information gets out there, but at the same time, it's like, why are these blasters ready and not being sold? Or why are they ready and not being prepared for a better release? I feel like you're just letting things happen and taking a very passive stance when you obviously have the resources and the ability to be a leader.
Yeah, I mean,
and you are a leader. I just feel like you aren't really fighting to keep that position properly.
Yeah, I think it's just, there's been so many leaks with everything, and not to say it's not fun covering them, it's not interesting seeing them, but there's no surprises from Hasbro. Everything is leaked so much in advance that by the time we get it, we already know exactly what to expect, and it's not really a surprise. It's nice to get your hands on it sometimes, but some of the things you're just like, oh, yeah, well, I mean, we've known what that could do for months now. Like, what's the thing that's going to be coming out?
Yeah, but on that note, that's basically what's new, what's been leaked lately on the internet. Once again, we're having a contest. If you want a chance to win a free Elite Alpha Trooper, just send us an email at bayareanerf@gmail.com about what you like about our show. Mm-hmm. Once we get up to 100 likes on Facebook, that's Bay Area Nerf on Facebook, then we will go ahead and randomly select a winner.
Yeah, so like our page, get your friends to like our page. We were going to do, I want to give a shout out to my brother in brisket, Josh Evo, for plugging us on his show. Josh Evo and Sam over at Incoductic, INCODUCTIC. They have a great little weekly nerd geek news podcast about a whole bunch of games and other stuff. It's a ton of fun. Listen to them, they're great. Also, shout out to Bobo Lolo. Thanks for being awesome. Hit us up.
Come on our show.
Yeah, now there are a bunch of people out there. We could hit them all up, but, you know.
Yeah, I mean, one at a time.
There we go.
I mean, let's take a look at it this way. The Vikings targeted the Anglo-Saxons first.
We can only stroke one ego so much in an episode. We have to save some. We can't stroke them all.
We'll cycle through. Don't worry, my last start. We'll start stroking your ego again.
Yeah, no, we still love you.
Yep. I mean, I think we mention you like every single week on the show.
We probably do.
Like, where did the news come from today? My last start.
Yep, my last start, or basic Nerf, you know.
Yep.
We're talking about those two.
Basically, one posts the news before I wake up, and the other one posts it as I wake up.
There you go.
So what I'm saying is, Jason, I think you're going to have to move to Europe if you want to capture the whole world as my last start has.
Yeah, sure. I get it, because before you wake up.
The best part of waking up is some foam in your cup.
Nerf!
Ah!
It's like a commercial.
Yeah, so anywho, on that note, this has been Nerfcast.
I'm Josh.
And this is Shawn.
Happy Nerfing! All right, everybody, we're out.
I'm going to play the music this time, but for real, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Let's jam.